93, 93, 93. This is Amon Asha Renew from AshaRenew.com. Today I will speak on modern spirituality makes you weak. So stop it now. Save yourself. Do not get caught up into the karmic winds of the people. And what I mean by the people is the masses. The masses leave their destiny in the hands of karma because they don't want to get their hands dirty. And of course, I just made the video about karma is not what you think it is like 2 days ago. So this is more so building off of that concept, building off of that foundation. What I mean is this: spirituality has been used as a tool to suppress us. Slavery no longer requires you to put people in chains. Chains, not change, chains. We no longer need to be suppressed physically when our minds can be suppressed and the spirituality can be altered to work not to your benefit but to your detriment. Let me give you an example. If your biggest, basically, in other words, let me just give more so of personal experience. So let me make this more personal, so I'm not just talking like a philosopher, speaking about universal laws. Let me bring it into the personal realm. All of the people you can say I have met who were quote unquote spiritual or spiritually minded, many of these people have always been that way. In other words, if you ask them, were you born with psychic abilities? They'd say, yeah, I've been this way since I was a child. This is not due to the work that I put in. I've always been spiritually inclined or psychically inclined. Basically, their Neptune has always been activated. That may be their strongest planet, so on and so forth. Many of these people exist. The common denominator is when I started speaking about mathematics, when I started speaking about astrology, when I started speaking about Kabbalistic science, it's like these people, you can say, go brain dead. It's like they can't comprehend these things, or it takes them a long time to comprehend these things. But let me go to my personal life. Astrology is what woke me up. I can't say, see, I'm not saying that I was not born spiritual, but I did know because I didn't have anybody around me to activate me. I had to discover astrology on my own. Nobody gave me an astrology book. Nobody told me, hey, you need to study this or do this or do that. That's not how it happened for me. Now, it may happen for other people, but that's not how it happened for me. For me, it was a self discovery. Meaning, as soon as I was aware that astrology existed, I immediately wanted to know who I was. So when I came into the knowledge of astrology, the first thing I'm doing, like everyone else, I want to know what my sun sign represents and if it correlates to me. Is it true or is it false? So if I am a Western Scorpio, I'm looking up Scorpio attributes. I'm looking up the element of water. I'm looking at who I am compatible with and who I'm not compatible with and how true is all these things. Because it's highly technical, it's highly mathematical. Now, excuse me, just got done drinking some tea. So when it comes to modern times, in terms of, because now I'm speaking about before the law of attraction, I'm speaking about before the secret, before 2012, right? Again, I'm speaking about when I was a teenager. So again, this is before 2012. This is before the New Age movement, not the actual New Age movement, but 2012 and beyond. Because we remember 2012, the world was supposed to end, so on and so forth. This is before all that. So when I was getting into these things, it wasn't really popular. I remember searching on YouTube back in like '05, '06, trying to discover things, and there wasn't really that much information available. Again, the only people that were around were the people who were actually professionals. It wasn't nobody getting on YouTube just trying to explain astrology because again, you this was before you was able to even get paid on YouTube. So the only people that was around was the people that just wanted to genuinely express their lifestyles. So essentially, those people were already where they was. They were not looking for clout. They were not looking for fame. Again, this is before all that was a possibility. All they were doing was sharing from their heart. As we know, YouTube started with the youth. What made YouTube blow up is the youth. Videos going viral because the youth is putting out content. It wasn't the elders that blew up YouTube. It was the youth that blew up YouTube, just like everything else. Just like all social media is always the youth, that gets it popping. Then the adults come after the fact. What's up, fuck customer service? It's a funny name. Salute to you. What I'm saying is, once we start get going in a direction or get into the direction where now everybody knows the law of attraction, now everybody knows the secret, now everybody's connected to their ancestors. Right now, everybody's praying to their ancestors. All it did was water it down. What do I mean by this? I didn't grow up knowing a goddamn thing about the ancestors at all. I didn't grow up thinking that everybody comes from Africa. I didn't grow up thinking that we evolved from monkeys. These are all concepts that I had to learn outside of the home. None of this stuff there was none of that information was in the household whatsoever. So that's essentially how I was able to make these self discoveries. Like if I want to be honest, like I have an Aquarian mother. My mother is an Aquarius. So she was not the one that put church on us. We went to church because my great grandmother and my great grandfather was into the church. They were Baptists. So any of my experiences in church came from them. It was also at their home that I began to cultivate my knowledge of astrology because lo and behold, they actually had astrology books in their basement. Probably from when they were younger and when they were curious before they ultimately made their decision as to which direction that they wanted to go in. So we never had a conversation about astrology. I never had a conversation about astrology with my grandparents, but as I was going through their library in their basement, it was astrology books there. So that's what sparked my interest. And again, it was never something that we actually had a conversation about, but that's where my origins come from. The same way I learned about meditation when I was in my grandparents' home, my great grandparents' home. So I just want to emphasize the great grandparents, not my grandparents, not my mother's parents, the great grandparents. You can say I was essentially raised by them, other than my mother. So if I seem a little, I don't know, I guess some people consider it more Saturn like. If I seem a little bit more like an elder, not that I just know something that other people, I was just raised by the great grandparents. I was in their presence. And that's why I say, what's up, Keenan? Just being in their presence cultivated my essence. It was never that we were having certain conversations about anything, but just being in their presence, being in their household, allowed me to essentially cultivate my own so-called spirituality. So a lot of spiritual concepts I was introduced essentially indirectly through them. So whether they had a book that they may have read and just forgot about, this is something they bought, they had an interest, they had a phase, and they just forgot about it. I was able to pick up on those seeds that they planted for themselves, and ultimately I was able to benefit from that. So again, it wasn't a direct experience; it was an indirect experience. So essentially, my introduction to what we call spirituality was through astrology, and we know astrology is ruled by Uranus. After Uranus, you have Neptune. Neptune is essentially what I was talking about in the beginning, where people who were just born spiritual, who has psychic ability, who can hear whispers and all that. I developed those abilities after the fact. For your information, this is Tangela. Oh, okay, okay. I got you. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Salute to you. Salute to you. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. All right. I got you. I got you. I didn't begin to cultivate my Neptunian attributes till after I was cultivated with the mathematics. So that's why I was saying earlier, the people that I know that were born spiritual, that always had spirituality a part of them. It was nothing that somebody gave them. They were just always just able to hear spirits, or they were always clairvoyant. They had an issue understanding astrology, meaning that was something I had to introduce to them. And that's something that, it took them time to learn. It wasn't something that they just immediately grasped. It was like, it was real challenging for them, which I understand because it's two different planets. Astrology would be Uranus, then the spirituality would be Neptune. So it's two different planets. So I completely understand that. But that's why I'm always talking about the outer planets. Then, of course, we cannot forget Pluto. What's up, Nardo? You can't forget Pluto because Pluto represents the world consciousness. So I say, I didn't become a Plutonian until I entered into the world consciousness that I call YouTube. It wasn't until you could say I began to teach. Now, of course, I was teaching before YouTube, but through YouTube, I was able to reach a wider audience. I was able to reach the world consciousness. And what I mean by the world consciousness, is now my teachings are available to the public for those who are interested, instead of you having to know me directly. Now, people don't have to know me directly. A lot of people will never meet me in their entire life, only in the astral plane. But nonetheless, they are still able to access the teachings. They're still able to access my energy because we can feel the energy. That's why people prefer YouTube, because we can actually feel the energy through YouTube or through video. So through videos, so yeah, of course you can see my face, but you can also feel the energy. Meaning that's how you know, like if a person is lying, if a person is telling the truth, you can feel the energy. It ain't even about the words no more. See, it was about the words when radio existed. When it was about just strictly radio, all you had was the audio. All you had was the sound waves. But now that we have video, now we can tap into the video waves. Now again, you can just listen to a person or just feel a person out and know if they're truthful or if they're not. If they're trying to scam you or if they are authentic. It's easy to detect at this point. That's why it's a blessing, because it's harder to be fooled. That's what mathematics is. This is the point I'm making. Spirituality is not the language of the universe. The language of the universe is mathematics. That's really the foundation of it all. Meaning, without a mathematical foundation, which is why I'm always talking about mathematics, why I'm always talking about astrology, I'm always talking about something mathematical. That's just my foundation. Because that's the language of the universe. If you don't understand mathematics, you're not going to be able to take your spirituality to the chambers that you want to take it. That's why I could not stay a Uranian. I started as a Uranian, but I eventually had to evolve to a Neptunian and eventually evolve into a Plutonian, which is stages of alchemy. So before I can even make my presence known on YouTube, I had to know what the fuck I was talking about. I had to have actual experience. Because what the fuck am I going to share with people if I don't have any experience? So I had to go through these chambers before I even entered into the YouTube sphere. I mean, I had to know about the Lima. That's why if you go back to my first video where I'm showing my face, you see that tarot deck is with me. So the whole time I've been on YouTube, you'd say I had knowledge of the Lima. So before I was claiming 93, you can go back to, again, my very first video. I'm showing you tarot cards from the Thoth deck. From the very first video. Not the first video on the channel, the first time I showed my face, which is back in 2013. We're almost in 2023 now. So you see, the whole time I've been consistent. I didn't come into the game one way and now I'm doing something else. I've been on 93 the entire time. And again, I know that this is not popular. Everybody's not running to see what the fuck 93 is again. So it, because for me, it was never about popularity. Because nobody else knew. This is something that I took upon myself. Meaning, once I was introduced to that tarot deck, I had to read the Book of Thoth and then cultivate it within my own consciousness and make it make sense to me before I could explain it to anybody. It had to make sense to me before I could educate anybody else about it. I had to know what was going on. So when I began to read the Book of Thoth and navigate the tarot, it wasn't as hard for me as it would be for someone else because you see, I already had knowledge of astrology. So when we study the tarot and we say the tarot, oh, this is all astrology anyway. This is just taking it a step further. So for me, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Meaning the Thoth deck was not my first tarot deck. Excuse me. My first tarot deck was a crow's deck, or a deck that allows you to tap into the animal kingdom. That was my very first deck. But I wasn't a tarot reader at that point. I didn't become a tarot reader until I cultivated my knowledge of the Book of Thoth. That's what put me on a whole different level. Because I didn't understand the mathematical components of the tarot before that. Because again, I didn't have any literature to back up the tarot. This is me being curious. Oh, a tarot deck, cool. It wasn't until I gained an understanding of the literature that I began to see, like, oh, this is a lot deeper than what I even realized. And this is not even talked about on the mainstream level. This is why I made myself known in the first place. I'm like, I'm teaching these things because there's not, who else are you going to go to? Really, even to this day, who else are you going to go to that's going to teach you or bring you into the realm of 93? Even to this day, it's still not popular. I'm not saying people are not into it, but they're not making it known. They're not holding the crown of it, even to this day. And again, I've been doing this almost 10 years now, and it still is not popular, and it's not going to be popular because again, it just due to history, you're going to know why it's not popular. But that's not an excuse to not teach, to not cultivate the minds of the people that are curious, not about spirituality, but about the mathematics. So truly, you can say my spirituality is mathematics. That's why I say 93, which are math. You don't see me saying Hotep, even though you say I have a Kemetic name, Amun Asheranu. You don't. I don't come on here saying Hotep. I used to before, but you see, I don't Hotep, Shalom, peace. I don't use nobody else's greetings. So I'm like, that don't have nothing to do with me. I didn't come through the door on that time, so why should I be on that time? Even though I have educated myself in all these worlds, meaning I know all these things because I took time to educate myself. But at the end of it all, I come on here and I say 93. I take you right back to the origin. I take you right back to the foundation, which is mathematics. And you see, I'm not going to veer from that. It's going to always come down to the mathematical components because that's what astrology does for us. Astrology, you don't have to guess what astrology is already there because it's all based on time. In terms of spiritual gifts, how do we tap into our individual gifts? That's the whole purpose of why you decode your astrology chart. Because the only way for you to know what your gifts are, meaning I can't tell a person what their gifts are just by looking at them. I will have to gaze into a person's chart. And then from gazing into their chart, I'm like, okay, here's the potential. Meaning I have to look into the mathematics. I'm not gonna try to fool nobody and say, okay, I know what you should be doing with your life. I don't know what the fuck you should be doing with your life. But if I have an opportunity to see what's going on in your chart, I can have an idea based on the mathematical components. So whatever gifts that we have are in the natal chart. They're already there. That's what makes it a gift. Meaning you already have it. That's not something you had to work for. Meaning when somebody give you a gift, it ain't because you earned it. That's something that was given to you. That's the energy of Jupiter. Jupiter is the gift bringer. Versus Saturn, Saturn is about hard labor. Saturn is a laborer. So when you have to go to work and you get paid by the hour, that's the energy of Saturn. Jupiter is more so when you are just given things. Your fortune, your star lot. Those are the energies of Jupiter. But you see, I wouldn't know that if I didn't know mathematics. That's why you see I can bring everything back to a zodiac sign or a planet because I know these are all mathematical equations. It all comes down to the mathematics. Now, when we start moving in the direction of the law of attraction, now we're moving in the direction of modern day spirituality. It's like I don't even understand this shit, and I'm not saying I don't understand it as it's above my head. I'm not sure why people are even into it because I'm like, if there's no mathematical basis, then how do we even know what's true? How do we even know what's going on? But that's why so much misinformation out here. That's why anybody feel like they can get on here and just start running their fucking mouth. What gives you the power to speak? Not talk, speak. What gives you the power to speak is you have done some type of study to know that there is something to be spoken about. You have to do some type of study. In other words, the reason why I can come on here now on YouTube and I can just speak from the heart, not from here, from the heart, meaning I don't premeditate what I'm going to say. That would be me utilizing my logic and my reason. I'm not using logic and reason. Okay, I'm gonna make a YouTube video. I'm gonna talk about this, and I like already have something premeditated. I don't do it like that because again, I had to cultivate my Neptunian attributes. That's speaking from the heart. Meaning, if I do speak, it has to come directly in the moment. So when I speak, I'm speaking in the moment. I'm not speaking about anything in the past. I'm speaking directly into the moment. But that's Neptune. That's what you can say spirituality. Spirituality allows you to be in the moment. You move your conscious mind out the way and allow your subconscious and your unconscious to speak through you. That's what it means to access the Akashic records. So that's why I called myself Asha, short for Akashic records. That was me cultivating my Neptune, but I had to cultivate my mathematics first. So before I took on the name Amun Asheranu, I had to be proficient in astrology. So once I took on that name, I'm like, okay, well, now I can speak directly from the Akashic records. Not because I said I could. My name is going to reflect that. That's why that name was chosen. Your name is a reflection of your energy. So why would I name myself anything else other than who I am? But there's no coincidence there because if I want to be honest, let me just be honest, right? What made me a Neptunian is because I had a spiritual experience. I wasn't spiritual. That's how I know it's authentic. Because I never considered myself spiritual. Again, as I said, I was always into astrology, but I did not consider myself spiritual. I didn't have any spiritual abilities or psychic abilities. I didn't have that. It wasn't until I was approached by the spirit, and I've told the story over and over again. I don't need to repeat the story. It wasn't until I was approached by the spirit, and the spirit introduced itself to me by name, and I looked up the name, and it's a real deity. That's when I became spiritual. I didn't become spiritual because I'm like, okay, oh, spirituality is cool. No, the motherfuckers ran up on me and made me ready. That's just how it happened to me. I got ran up on. I wasn't doing any rituals. I didn't know nothing about rituals. I wasn't a spiritualist. I didn't know shit about the ancestors. I'm not burning no candles. I'm not doing any of these things, fucking with crystals and all that. Like, I'm not doing any of those stuff. Hold on. Sorry about that. I wasn't doing any of those things because that wasn't my direction. I didn't feel like that don't have nothing to do with me. Until some shit, real shit happened to me, then I was able to confirm it. See, it's one thing when something happens to you. It's another thing when you can confirm it. I was able to confirm it because the spirit literally told me his name. And I didn't do that because I was summoning the spirit. I didn't do no ritual. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't even know I didn't know the name of the spirit. When the spirit told me his name, I'm like, who the fuck is that? I didn't even know the spirit. So it would have been different if, excuse me, like I already knew what I was getting myself into. I didn't. because it told me the original name. See, it didn't tell me the Greek name, it didn't tell me the English name. It told me the Kemetic name, which I had never heard of before that. So when I Google search and I'm like, oh shit, this is real. Whatever the fuck just happened to me was real because here it is, right here. Here's the evidence. Here is the proof. So whatever the fuck this was told me its name is real. So that's how I knew this is not something that I'm making up. This is not something that I just pretended that happened because here is the evidence. So I'm like, whatever the fuck just happened to me was real, and I need to figure out what the fuck is going on. That's what made me spiritual because I got ran up on, and I need to understand what the fuck was going on because I didn't understand at the time because again I was not familiar with any of these concepts at all because I did not consider myself spiritual. I was not a spiritualist. I didn't know anything about that. That just wasn't my world. That wasn't my realm until one day it was. So then I began to do the due diligence as to, okay, well, what does that mean for me? Why did it happen to me? Because again, coming from a person that never heard spirits, never claimed spirituality, why is spiritual shit happening to me? And I'm in a whole different world. I'm on a whole nother planet. Why is it happening to me? As if this was not my world whatsoever. It's just a process of evolution. So when I was rooted in the mathematics, now spiritual shit has happened to me, and I need to be able to comprehend what's going on. See, this is before YouTube. So I wasn't trying to, okay, I had a spiritual experience. This is what happened to me. I wasn't telling nobody what was happening to me. They didn't give a fuck either. They wasn't spiritual either. So I was not amongst spiritual people whatsoever. If anything, I was amongst religious people. So of course I'm not about to tell them that spirits is talking to me because I'm like, you already know how they're gonna react to that, right? You've combined your new and old styles. What do you mean by that? At work, just wanted to say peace 93. What's up, Callie? It's always an honor. It's always an honor. See, this is what I'm saying. It's always an honor. I feel honored to be in a position where you can cultivate real relationships with real people, and it's based on spirituality, which is authentic. Because because Callie, you already know when we are in each other's presence, we cannot deny what the fuck is going on. See, that's how you know. When you are in the midst of certain people, spiritual shit happens amongst you. That you're not trying to project anything outward. Things are just happening on its own. And we know, like, if you've been amongst spiritual people, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It ain't nobody trying to do anything. It's like literally happening to you. It's like you're being surrounded by a higher consciousness. At times, it may even be scary, right? You are filming like you used to, but with your evolved experience. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. But that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm supposed to not show the way, but just to be authentic. Because there's so much misinformation out here, and people don't really have authentic experiences. And if they do have authentic experiences, they're not explaining the shit right because they don't have the proper components. That's what it's all about. So I'm like, at least I had the proper components to, as you see, I can explain these things and make sense. Everybody can't do that. Everybody can have a spiritual experience and explain it logically and soundly. It takes time. Go back to my original videos. I wasn't doing it this good when I first came on YouTube. It took time. But it wasn't just time, it's experience. I had to get experience. That's why, years ago I was able to meet people. I'm like, yo, when I come to your city, I mean, if you here, hit me up. That's why I was doing that. I had to go through those chambers. I had to see, well, am I really authentic? The only way to see if I'm authentic is to be amongst other spiritual people. So that's what I had to do. I'm like, let me reach out and see if I'm the real deal. Because if they're the real deal, then I should know if I'm the real deal. I mean, if they can hear spirits, if they have spiritual experiences, if I enhance their abilities, then I must be the real deal. And that's my experience. When I am amongst spiritual people, the energy is enhanced. Now things are happening that neither one of us can explain. It's like, damn, it seems as if there is something else doing some shit. But we know that's what we call the higher self. The higher self is stimulated. Now things move in divine timing, as we say, right? But that couldn't be a possibility if I didn't take the time to be able to explain these things and know, like, okay, it ain't enough for me to be a Uranian. Yeah, the mathematics is cool, but now you have to have actual experience. It's cool, to know your natal chart. It's cool to know the astrology, the zodiac, the planets. But what about real time? What if something happens to you in real time? Can you explain it? Do you know where to go to get the answers for things that are happening right in front of you? All right. What's up, Josh? Salute to you. Salute to you. You know what I mean? Keep doing your work. Keep doing your work. You know what I mean? I'm just here to motivate. At this point, I'm just here to keep everybody else on point. That's why I can't slip. That's why I had to stay on point. Really, that's why I do it. I do it. I'm like, if I don't stay on point, then how do we really know what's going on out here? That's why, like, here I am showing. I'm like, yo, if you really want to know what's going on, this is how you do it. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? If I'm authentic, I'm like, let me show you how to get an authentic experience. And I don't have to be there with you, right? Yeah, definitely love and appreciation. Give me 1 second here. Let me make sure my battery isn't gonna die on me. Hold on. All right, give me a second here. I'm about to take off this microphone because I'm not able to put the charger in the phone and have this mic. Hold on. Yeah, give me a second here. Hold on. Hold on. Take. Okay, so I took the mic off, so if the sound sounds different, I had to put in the charger because this is an older phone. Remember, I can't use my newer phone because YouTube just keeps glitching and shit. So this is an older phone, so obviously the battery is not 100%. So we just have to deal with it for a little bit. So let me just wrap all this up, right? So let me make it cohesive. Spirituality. Let me not even say spirituality. What's up, Emoto 72? What's up, Chief? 93, 93, 93. So we know that 9-3 is powerful. Just know that 9-3 is powerful. Once you know the numbers. That's why that number was chosen. That's why I wanted to bring that to the forefront. So if nothing else, just remember who brought forth 93, if nothing else. Because that in and of itself comes from the divine, as we call AWAS. 93 is a direct manifestation of the spirit. I constantly see 93 multiple times a day because it's more than what you think it is. See, again, we see it as numbers. Okay, 93, but 93 is an experience. 93, just like anybody who's seeing any type of synchronistic numbers, like Joshua, he was saying 69. People see all type of number sequences, but they don't be knowing what it means. I didn't run into a lot of people that say, I have synchronistic experiences, and they see all certain number sequences. But if you ask them what that sequence means, they may not be able to tell you what it means. See, that's the thing. See, a lot of us have experiences, but we don't necessarily know what it means. The only way to know what it means is to have an actual experience with that number or mathematical equation directly. See, 93 is a mathematical equation. It represents a direct experience. So we can talk around it, but that's why I said I had to speak from you from the center. That's all I do. That's all I do. I had to speak from the center, meaning I can't speak from the outside looking in. I had to go to the middle of the circle. I had to go to that dot. I had to go to the 0 point, as we call the Akasha, right? I had to go to that 0 point or the Akasha. So, and that's where I speak from. And all these other people, again, what I mean by that is this. There's a lot of people that are afraid, right? Our daughter who passed away, name was Harmony. Salute to her. You know what I mean? Rest in paradise or rest in peace. Salute. What I mean by this is here, and again, I don't want to go too, all over the place. What's up, Smooth? I'm not going to cap. When I started my spiritual journey years ago, it was your channel that kept me putting in the work. Your show and proof is well documented, my G93. You know, that's what I said. I just had to show 93. That's all I'm here to do. If we just to break it down into simplistic terms, I'm just here to show you the experience, the living experience, or the living intelligence of 93. To show you how it goes beyond Crowley. Crowley was just a messenger. See, people get caught up on Crowley. They get caught into what he was doing with his life. That don't have nothing to do with 93. Crowley did not invent 93. 93 was given to him. For those who know the story, for those who know the history, that wasn't something that he just invented himself. That came directly from a channel from AWAS. Right? So that's an ancient spirit. It comes from ancient times. It's a living experience. That's all I'm here to do, is to show you the living experience. That's it. It's like we know 9 is Mars. So if 9 is Mars, and Mars is the militant spirit, that's why I have a militant spirit. That's why you say, yeah, the show and prove is on point. Yeah, that's from that militant spirit. That's that 9. The 9 is the military spirit. So that's why I take my spirituality militantly. That's why I don't joke around with it. That's why I'm like, yo, let me show you how to outwork motherfucker. Like, let me show you. It was always about, let me show you how it's done. That's just my militant mind. Then the 3 is Jupiter. And we know Jupiter, that's the fortune teller. That's the one who can predict the future. And that's what I showed y'all. And again, I got the evidence is there. That's why I was telling y'all about COVID before COVID even happened. The evidence is there. Just go back. And again, that's what I'm always here to show you things before it pops off, not after the fact. So if you've been following me for years, you know, like I was on things before it even hit the mainstream. And it wasn't because I was watching TV. It's because I'm into the mathematics. I'm into the astrology. I'm looking at things before they happen. That's the whole point of the 3. You need to be able to see it before it happens, not after the fact. That's what everybody else is doing. Everybody else gives their commentary after the fact. That's what the news is for. The news comments after the fact. But who's telling you what's going to happen before, so that you can properly prepare yourself before? See, it ain't too many people doing that, because you see that's an art in and of itself, right? Yo, I wanted to tell you snapped on the last wave of videos you put out too. It is what it is, you know. It is what it is. You know, that's just me doing what I do. You know, I had to basically just come back to the center point. I was going off into other shit. I ain't gonna lie. I was going off into other shit. I had to reintroduce myself to 93. I'm like, all right, what the fuck am I doing? You know, fucking around with shit you ain't supposed to fuck around with. You know, going into the dark, the light, the gray path, you know, doing all this experimentation. And that's essentially what I do. So any experience I have is experimentation. Let me check the time. Hold on. It's experimentation. That's just all it is. I'm like, yo, it don't matter what. Like, I've done it. Like, so, like, that's why I know it does not matter what position you in. Like, even if you work a 9 to 5, you can perform magic. Because I did it. When I was working a 9 to 5, I'm doing magic while I'm there. I'm not saying I'm casting rituals. I'm not lighting candles. It's all mental. I'm fixating my mind on certain mentalisms or some mental images, chants, words of power, whatever it may be. So I'm seeing for myself, I'm like, damn, there's certain experiences happening that otherwise would not happen, because I experimented. I'm like, all right, I'm about to go to work, and I'm not going to use no magic. But then I'm like, all right, tomorrow I'm about to use magic. Because I wanted to know. I'm like, okay, just because I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, I need to know for certain. It can't be a guess. I'm like, I need to know, like, okay, is these mantras really working? Is these words of power really working? Is this magic really working? So I need to see, okay, I'm gonna do certain days I'm not gonna do anything, then certain days I'm gonna do things. So if the days that I do things, if some strange things keep happening when I actually do things, then those strange things do not happen when I don't do it, then I know, okay, that's because of that. I've been chatting clean nonstop and keep going with it. A court is still haven't caught up to the spirit of the of it's funny. Yeah, like, yeah. Who's talking about the spirit of their city or the spirit of their town? That's because it came from the Akashic records. That's why, like, when I speak, my ego is not in this at all. That's why I call myself Asha. That means I move my ego. Fuck my ego. Fuck who I am in real life. That has nothing to do with this. I'm here to like, yo, let me show you what we forgot. Because again, shit happens, right? So let me introduce you to the true spirituality. And then you make it living on your own. And that's exactly what you're doing, right? So that's why that 93 became a living intelligence. I'm like, let me show you what, like, we've been doing this. This is the Kemetic science. This is the real form of spirituality, right? Otherwise, nobody would say 93 if it wasn't real. So everybody who says 93, because you know it's real. You know it's authentic. That's why I'm like, yeah, that's why I wanted to, I'm like, yo, let me rep, you know, the most dangerous shit that I can find. That's basically what it was, right? So when I learned about 93, I'm like, yo, I know, like, this is never going to be something that everybody fucks with. So that's why if you fuck with 93, then that's why, like, I really fuck with you, because I know, like, that ain't the mainstream. You ain't going amongst nobody not on 93 time and they just fucking with you heavy. Like, you already know, like, yo, that's more so, that's something you do for yourself. You're not doing that to be popular or like, because you ain't even speaking about no popular topics. We see we're not speaking about narcissism. We're not speaking about healing your inner child. We're not speaking about none of that shit. Like, you see, this is just straight demon time. And sometimes I kind of get on divine time, right? I try to keep it balanced, but you see, this is straight demon talk. This is coming straight from the Akasha, straight from the underworld, straight from the halls of a mentee. Because who the fuck else is gonna do it? That's why, that's the whole thing. I'm like, I'm not gonna wait for somebody else to come along and do what I can do now. That's what it all comes down to. I'm not gonna wait for someone else to do what I can do right now. And that's why I keep showing up. That's why you see it's been almost 10 years, I'm still here. But I'm like, I'm not gonna wait for someone else to come along and do what I can be doing now. Especially when it comes to 93. I'm like, who the fuck else is going to be more authentic? Maybe the one who comes after me. That's the whole thing, right? I may have laid the foundation, but I'm not the end all be all. People will come after me and supersede what I did, just like Crowley. People have come after Crowley and did more. They continued his work. Right? He wasn't the end all be all. He just laid the foundation. But everybody here, the ones who've been fucking with me, y'all have the ability to do what I can't. Y'all are in worlds that I'm not in. You're going to see things that I don't see. You can take it further than I can take it. Because you may have certain knowledge and experiences that I don't have. That's the whole thing. Meaning, if you were born spiritual, you probably are more advanced than me. I wasn't born spiritual. So if you were already born clairvoyant, clairaudient, if you have abilities that I had to develop, you already had those, and then you get caught up with 93, you can supersede me. You can do things I can't do. Because you see, I had to develop all these things. All this is just straight hard labor for me. That may not be your situation. Again, you may not be in a position where, you got to do all these things yourself. You may have a team, a strong team, that you only have to do certain things. Then you can do it. So that's my whole, that's why I say I move my ego away. That's why I reveal the secrets. That's why I speak about things that other people are not going to speak on, because I'm like, yo, I'm not the end all be all. Watch what happens when motherfuckers who fuck with me, they like, oh, when it snaps for them, like, oh shit. And that's I already know what's happening. That's why we still here, right? All I did was spark what was already within you. 93 was already within me. So when I got the spark, I just ran with it. So anybody else who was sparked by 93, you already know. That's all I'm here to do is spark. I'm not here to show you the end all be all. That's the whole thing. I still have a lot to learn. Again, I'm that's why I say I came straight from hell. I came straight from hell. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know a goddamn thing. No, I mean, I hated school. I didn't give a fuck about school. Again, you say I didn't give a fuck about the world. I come straight from the Plutonian current. That's what makes me a Scorpio. I'm like, fuck the world. I was I was on Tupac time, right? Like a lot of us are. I wasn't a child growing up thinking about I'm gonna be a doctor or a lawyer. That was not my thoughts. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do because I didn't see the world as a place even wanted to be. I had a death wish growing up. I couldn't wait to die. I was just on Scorpio time. That's just raw cardinal Scorpio time. I had to go through those chambers. My mother had to put me in therapy. Like, yo, like, what the fuck is up with this death wish? She wasn't cool with that. She was like, yo, what the fuck? You take your ass to therapy, yo. You know what I mean? I tried to kill myself multiple times. I had to go through those chambers. Like, there is a reason that I should be living. It wasn't always there. I had to learn that. See, that's where I am now. Now I'm like, yo, I can appreciate life. I can appreciate living. But it wasn't always that way. I had to get to that point. So that's why I say I came directly from hell. I was not a person that was positive at all. At all. I wasn't positive at all. I'm like, I didn't see the point. I'm like, this world is corrupt. Fuck this world. I was always on that time, as we call demon time. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this. I'm not here to save the world. But as I begin to develop myself, I'm like, oh, okay. I probably should stick around a little bit because I have something to offer. I had to find value in myself. It wasn't always there. It wasn't always there. That's why I take this seriously. I'm like, I see what it did for me. So imagine what it do for you. All right, my wife's Scorpio, so I see what you're saying exactly. That's the Scorpio shit. But you see, if just imagine if I didn't know astrology, how would I explain that? You see what I mean? See, the astrology and the mathematics is really mathematics. Without the mathematics, like I wouldn't be able to explain this. It would be my experience. It would be authentic, but I wouldn't be able to put it into tangible terms without the mathematics. So that's why I say the true spirituality starts with mathematics. Make mathematics your foundation. So that way, when you do talk to spirits, when you do evolve into your Neptunian attributes, now you know how to deal with it. So as I said with me, so when spirits began to come to me, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because my mathematics was on point, I was able to, like, okay, I'm not going to get freaked out. I'm not about to start praying to God like demons are attacking me. See, I didn't take that route. Like, oh shit, this is not supposed to be happening to me. I'm like, okay, oh, the mathematics is on. Like, okay, let me see what's going on. How do you use the energy of 93 chanting mantras? It's being it. You become it. All right? See, 93 is more so a greeting. Like if you study Aleister Crowley, 93 is like a greeting that, your fellow Thelemites, because, Aleister Crowley, Thelema. So if you follow Thelema, you are a Thelemite. So amongst fellow Thelemites, we greet each other with 93. And we also end or depart on 93. So that's why when I present myself, before I say anything, 93. And when I'm finished, 93. And I do that to put me in a certain space. That's me moving my ego out of the way. That's me moving my ego out of the way. So when I say 93, 93, 93, that's me departing from my ego. So I can let the Akasha flow through me so that I can speak and say what I need to say without the ego mixing and matching with it, unless I'm, just speaking about personal stuff. So that's why I do it. But that may not, anybody else can do it differently. You know what I mean? That's just how I do it. I do it to keep my ego out of these teachings. So that's why I do it. So 93 just represents you moving out the way. You moving out of your own way. 9 plus 3 gives you what? 12. Right? 9 plus 3 gives you 12. 12 zodiac signs. We are the zodiac. We are 360 degrees, right? Which is what I tell. I'm like, yo, yes, we may have a sun sign. I may be a Western Scorpio, but I must acknowledge all 360 degrees. Well, I see you. 93, Michelle. Thank you for sharing your journey. I am praying for you. And, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I really do. I really appreciate it because I know you didn't have to do it. So that's why I say I appreciate everybody. Nobody ain't got to give me nothing. So when you do give me something, that's like I know it came from here. I know it came from here. It ain't coming from here. So that's why I appreciate. That's why I keep showing up. That's why I wanted to show y'all. I'm like, yo, let me just keep putting out content, keep putting out content. Because it's coming from here. So again, so when y'all show me the love, I know it comes from here. So that's how I know. That's how I know. So that's why I appreciate. That's why this. I can't really put that into words because I know it's authentic. Again, that's $20 you could have did something else with. You know what I mean? So like I don't. What am I trying to say? I just appreciate that. Like let me not try to just make up something, right? I know anybody can be doing anything else with their money. We going through inflation. We going through all. We got every reason to be, to keep our money in our pockets. We got every reason in the world. So when you open up your pockets, when you share your love, when you even the comments, and the like, the comments, the subscribe, any form of currency, whether you liking a video, you commenting, you sharing a video, any currency is fully appreciated because I know you don't have to. There's so many people that just watch the content and move on with their day. So whatever currency that you exchange with me, with the channel, it is always appreciated. And that's why I'm going to continue to show up. That's why I continue to show up. So that's why I don't complain about, okay, with the numbers or the views and all that. I focus on those who fuck with me. If you fuck with me, I fuck with you. And that's why I'm going to continue to show up, irregardless. I'm going to continue to show up and I'm going to continue to be authentic. It's just not going to stop because I know it's coming from the heart center. And again, that's why I say we are one. We are one. That's why I know that this is a spiritual phenomenon. Let me check the time. About 5 more minutes. This is a spiritual phenomenon. Again, when two or more people come together, the divine can manifest. I know that. This is an example of that. Even if it's just one person, as I said before, even if it's just one person, that's all I need. God will manifest. And I'm not saying the God of confusion. The divine will manifest or the demonic will manifest. So that's why I say I move my ego away because I know it's not just me. Just because this is speaking through technology, spirit flows through technology. The spirit moves through technology. So that's why. So when we synchronize mentally, when we mentally synchronize, that's what allows me to speak the way I speak. Because now it's not just me. The energy flows. The mind synchronizes through the technology. Because the mind is more powerful than technology. So what allows me to speak and be authentic is because we merge. We are one. And that's the word for that is just 93. 93 just represents the collective. That's why, again, 9 plus 3 gives you 12, which is the entire zodiac. 12 zodiac, 12 disciples, 12 tribes of Israel, 12, 12, 12, 12. It represents the collective. That's what it is. So we are the collective. So again, I don't never mistake that for something else. Like, oh, it's just me, it's my ego. Fuck me, fuck my ego. That's not relevant. I had to destroy my ego. That's why I had to change my name. When my name became Asha, that's me moving my ego out of the way. Meaning I am responsible for conveying the Akashic records. Not for me, but for us. I appreciate that, Smooth. Once again, it's always appreciated. Again, watch. I'm just going to, yeah, so y'all don't know what y'all doing right now. Y'all don't know what y'all doing right now. I'm gonna overload motherfuckers. I'm gonna overload y'all with content. I'm gonna show you that I care. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna keep overloading y'all. See, I'm getting tongue twisted, I'm getting emotional. I'm gonna show y'all. I told y'all I'm gonna have 1,000 videos up. So give me a few days. A few days, we have 1,000 videos. That'll be a milestone for all of us. Fuck me, all of us. This is never about me. This is a collective. I'm just a voice. But you see, when this live stream ends, we are a collective. We are always mentally one. We are always. So that's just what the 93 is. That's what the 93 is. We are one. We can always tap into each other's energy. Even if there's no face, fuck my face. This is just a projection. This is a hologram. The reality is a 93. So 93 is what makes us who we are. That is the culture. That is our culture. So that's just I just want to make that clear. Like it's never about me. It's never about a one person. It's never about me getting big. As I grow, we all grow. That's why I continue to convey this. As I evolve, we all evolve because I will continue to speak about the evolution. I will continue to keep everybody on point. You be going hard. I'm gonna keep doing it. Especially why not? You know what I mean? Y'all, when y'all send me the energy or the money, the currency, the credit, whatever it is, it just motivates me to keep going because I know this is for us as a whole. I say if it were just about me, I don't even have to get on YouTube. If it's just about me, like if I already know the secrets, I don't need to tell nobody else. But that's why this is a collective. I appreciate you, Nubian, the Nubian hippie 93. See, that's what I'm talking about. So don't be surprised if I hit y'all with another 10 fucking videos. Right? Don't be surprised. But we're gonna make it. So yeah, just give me a couple days. We're gonna hit that 1,000 video mark. And that's gonna be the milestone. Like, yo, yeah, damn, we've been around for 1,000 videos. That's the journey, you know? I mean, just look at everybody's. Like for anybody else who has 1,000 videos, you tell me if their evolution matches this. And I'm not talking about the production. I'm talking about the information, right? So we're gonna keep going. This is a collective. We're gonna keep going. I mean, I can't do this without you. That's the whole thing. One person can't do anything. But when we synchronize, see, that's what makes it. That's what Amun Asha Renew is. That's what the Akashic is. It is all of us as one expression. That's all the Akashic Records is. This is the collective experiences of all the people. Everything is documented in the Akashic Records. That's all people's experiences, not just one person. So all we're doing is funding ourselves. So anything you give me is like you're giving right back to yourself. We are funding ourselves. I will continue to show and improve. I will continue to show up. I will continue to be a representative of 93, just like you will. This is us giving power to something that we bring forth. Because like I said, so nobody was talking about 93 before we made ourselves known to the world. It ain't I made myself to the world. We made ourselves known to the world. Period. And we will continue to do so. That's why, again, can't nobody fuck with you. If you know 93, can't nobody fuck with you. Because you see, we cover all bases. Can't nobody fuck with you when it comes to anything spiritual, anything mathematical, anything demonic, or anything divine. Ain't nobody superseding that. I guarantee it. That's why we speak about everything. We're not afraid to speak about the demonic, and we're not too demonic to speak about the divine. We will cover all bases. We will cover all 360 degrees. And that's what we've been doing for 1,000 videos. And we will do it for the next 1,000. And the next 1,000. We ain't going to stop. Why stop? Whether we grow bigger or we stay the same. See, that's why I'm like, I had to remove myself from the numbers. I'm like, yeah, I may not be growing, but look at the people that's here already. That's what I need to acknowledge. I'm like, yo, if I never gain another subscriber, 93 still exists. As they say, no new friends, right? If nobody else comes along, we still exist, and the power cannot be matched. I guarantee it. Just try to find anybody else who synchronizes 93. It's not going to happen. Like I said, who else is releasing all these videos in a short amount of time? And this is not my first time doing it, and it won't be the last time. But with that, it's about 7 a.m., so we're going to get the kids off to school. We're going to do the adult thing. And I'll be back at y'all a little bit later today with more content. And again, I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart, As much as you appreciate me, I appreciate you. It is likewise. We are one. We are synchronized. Fuck the ego. So when I say 93, that just represents all of us. That is all of us as one mind. So as long as we are synchronized, I can speak from the Akashic Records. That's it. To help us all. To influence us all. To be the best that we can be, which is your Thelema. Your Thelema represents living out your true will. Not my true will, your true will. So if we are all on 93 time, that means we are all living out our true will, our divine will, as we see fit. Do what thou wilt, without infringing on nobody else's free will. You will be good out here. Do what thou wilt, without infringing on nobody else's free will. Because you see, we don't have to. We don't have to convince nobody. We don't have to force. All we have to do is use our own intelligence, because you are the living mathematics. So continue to shine and continue to activate your shadows. Move through the shadows, but shine brighter than the sun. That Sirius green light, that's what it's all about, that silver starlight. So salute to the silver stars. We should probably just call each other silver stars. But that's the light of Sirius. And that's really what it's all about, right? The comedic science at the foundation of it all is that serious light. So keep that shit serious, but not too serious. 93, 93, 93. We out this bitch.